And we're back on Chicano Tube. I appreciate everyone that's tuning in. The Sunday night edition. Gracias. I'm going to go through all the formalities and then introduce my guest that I got right here. Gracias, all the day oneers, all the day zeroers that have been rocking with me. We got a lot to talk about. I should be doing lives every single day, cabron, because there's always something going on. Always something pertaining also to the gente, the people, the raza. I got to do more and more of these. So the Sunday night edition, man. Don't forget to do that big three for your boy. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell. And when you hit the bell, you got to hit the all button. That way you're notified every time I go live. Not just me. Now I need everyone to do me the favor also and just keyword search this up, or someone's going to drop it in the link right now in the comment section, which is to my brother Alfonso's podcast, which is called Si Se Puede podcast. You know, when I heard that name, Si Se Puede, you know I gravitated toward it. Come on. Go ahead, brother. How are you?
Awesome. I want to just say thank you, Mikey, for having me on today. I want to say hello to all your subscribers, everybody in the chat. Yeah, my name is Alfonso Gomez, and I just started a podcast, and it's called Si Se Puede Podcast. If you can see right there, I want to thank Josh 18 from Las Vegas for creating this design. And like you said, man, Si Se Puede is a universal quote that we gravitate to, man. It's something that, like, when you say, I have a dream, when Latin people hear Si Se Puede, we automatically gravitate to it, you know?
I like that design too. La mano para arriba. So the mano para arriba is, of course, it signifies lucha, right?
Lucha.
Or something struggle, lucha, or there
What
was
it means to me, it means, you know, the Latinos in California, the Latinos in Texas, the Latinos in Florida, the Latinos in Atlanta, the Latinos in New York. You know, we're a force to be reckoned with when we come together as a hand, bro, and we have a fist and we have power, and we come together as people, man. We're a force to be reckoned with, man.
man,
And
you're
I
already
don't just look.
firing me up.
Yeah, Mikey, you know, man, it's one of those things that it burns in your heart. This thing, man, like the si se puede. I believe it's even a faith word. You know, when you tell somebody, your son, your friend, hey, bro, si se puede, homie, it could be done. Si se puede, you could do it, and that gets people to want to move forward, man, because there's a lot of negativity in life, man, and you know, I'm trying to focus on the positivity, and I'm trying to
Yeah.
focus on encouraging and inspiring, brother.
That's right. Someone asked me the other day, he said, well, Mikey, you do this and you do that and or whatever on your channel, right? And I said, well, yeah, everyone to each his own. Do what you want to do on your channel. Don't let no one else tell your channel. But someone said, are you a positive channel or are you a negative channel? I said, you know what? I said, that's based perception is up to each individual. I know what I am. I came from the calles. I came from the streets. I came from that street life to obviously do a 180. Now I'm a businessman and now I'm a family man. So, you know, it's called growing up. And so
And
you want to call me positive, negative, you call me what you want. Go ahead.
No, I look at your channel, man, like since the beginning, bro. You know, I look at your channel like a hub. You know, people come here as a hub to relink and learn and see what's going on with the situations and what's going on, man. And you're a leader, bro. Your channel is a leadership channel, and you got a voice. You know, and you call out people, and sometimes, you know, in the internet these things are going to happen, man, and we got to be ready for that and understand that there's going to be controversy, and there's also going to be a push to move forward in a real way, bro, as people. Because, man, ever since the fight, if you really think about it, Mikey, ever since the fight, and you were an awesome opener to what you did in that fight, right? But ever since Cholo, right, Cholo and Sonny, we got to give Sonny some credit here, man, because if it wouldn't have been for Sonny, that fight would have never happened, because this is a little thing that was happening between them. And then it turned into what it turned into. And then Mikey got involved, and all this ripple effect of things started happening. And I'm not trying to go too into all that, but it's awesome to see 2 years later, almost 3 years later, this thing growing and seeing your channel, bro. Like when I seen you flip the channel, like when you flip the caddy, when you flip it, when you hit the switch on your channel, bro. And I was like, whoa, look at what he did. And you inspired me. And also Bocho 1, bro, to be honest with you.
That's right.
Bocho 1, when I seen him, I said, I talk like that guy. I act like, I kind of like, I have similarities to his way. And I seen you flip it in a major way. And then I seen Bocho, and I was like, man, I wanna start something
That's
too. You
right.
know what I'm saying?
Man, hey, love the logo, love the design. Yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. But we'll start off how your day went. My day was. Did you see? I went to church. Obviously, it's Sunday. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
It's because to me, it's one of those pillars, and I guess a lot of people, I don't know, bro. I was raised here in Salinas, right? And here is just keeping it real. Like, o sea, we wear our heart on our sleeves, we speak from the heart, and that's what it is. Things that could offend other people, maybe on this channel, then it's not for you. And if it's not your cup of tea, then keep it pushing. But here, where the first pillar we push is Dios.
That's right.
And so maybe, here in my comment section, what I mean? Everyone knows the three pillars: Dios, familia, y cultura. And I believe, just like you said, Chicano Tube, my vision is it's going to get bigger than Mikey. It's going to get bigger than one person. It's going to be a platform, I believe by faith, that, anyone that wants to represent the people, and whether in a political office or however, and, is influential, if they're raza, they're going to have to run through Chicano Tube. They're going to have to
That's
get
right.
on here to get verified, like a little blue check mark on Instagram. You know
That's
what I
right.
mean? Because I guess that's one of my goals. That's one of my goals for the channel, is it to get bigger than one person. And but I appreciate you. But church today, football today, ¿qué hiciste?
So today I woke up and I went to church. I go to Pastor David's church, House of Rest Church. I got there early. I was writing down some notes because tomorrow I'm going to do some interviews with some people. So I was writing down some questions and I had a great time at church. After church, I went with my wife and my kids to go eat some tacos with them. And then after that, I didn't want to watch the Raider game, man. They let me down, bro. I was like, I'm a Raider fan, man. And I was like, sometimes I feel like
Oh,
when I go to church, I go, if I stay home, they're gonna lose. But if I go, they're gonna win. But no, man, they lost.
I
and
stopped. I stopped watching the Niner game at halftime. It's funny, we're on the same page right here. I feel like if I keep watching the game, I jinx it, cabron. And I'm like,
yes,
oh man, I got to turn this off at 17-17. And then it's funny because I have the NFL Sunday ticket, but they black out one or two channels every week, and I think it has to do with the contracts that those, it comes out on the game of the week or primetime games, or one or two it blacks out. I thought that was weird, but you had a good Sunday. That's good, man. And shout
yeah,
out to Pastor David. I don't know if you know, but he just came on Rhodium Radio.
yeah. I was watching it right now. He's doing really good, man. And they're having a
Going
Bible
deep.
study over there, you know, and it's Rhodium Radio, man. It's getting cracking over there. And I was
It
watching a little
cracks.
bit of it,
It cracks
but
over there.
yeah, it was good, man. It was good. We're at the point, Mikey, that people want to hear some truth. Yeah, we want to keep it real. Yeah, we want to keep it, stay away from any kind of like shadiness or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But we need more than just that. We need some real life mana in our heart, mana in our corazon, mana for our families. And if we're truly going to be leaders in the culture, there's only one person that truly gives leadership, and that's God, bro. He appoints us to say, you know what? I'm gonna put something on you to influence your culture and your people. And this is a big responsibility that you have, a lot of us have, and a lot of people that are in podcasting. It ain't just you know noise or just talking about anything. This is a responsibility. We have a momentum right now for the last 2 years that we don't want this to crumple, bro. We want to make this grow, man. We want to make this grow because people are watching. You would be surprised if this thing gets bigger. Chicago, Texas, and not to say that there have to be like the Cali people, they could do it their way, but we're all raza, man. We're all brown. We all have faith. We all, in one way or another, bro. We believe in God, no matter what, bro. And then we have our things that pull our heart, which is the cultura, the si se puede, the wanting to advance, as people and have things in life and be influential, bro. Because we all want to. We all have a voice, but what are we saying? Is it something that's going to be positive for the people, or is it going to be something that's going to pull them to a different direction? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly, man. And shout out to the people's pastor, Pastor David Rocha, and the House of Rest in Modesto. I have plans to be in the area very,
Ooh,
very soon. Yeah, before the month is out, very, very soon, with my brother from another mother, Bean Loke. Bean Loke, Bean Loke.
low.
Man, shout
Shout
out
out
to
to Bean
Bean.
Low, man.
Shout out to Bean Loke and Decken and Drakino. Okay, let's go ahead and get into it. One thing I wanted to mention to you, and I don't know if you saw this out there, but there was a video that went viral, and it started getting 80,000 views, 200,000 views, and
You blowing
50.
up, bro.
Yeah, it was going all over the place. And I was like, my wife told me about it, right? She goes, "Hey, honey," she goes, "Yeah, my birthday party, that birthday party video in the backyard, that thing is going to like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of views and shares." And for a day or two, I kind of thought, oh, it's interesting, but I really didn't care. Like, I don't know. I don't know. That's just me. I didn't care about the numbers or whatever. The only thing I was interested in, I was like, oh man, it shows my backyard. How does my backyard look?
Oh,
That
it
was
looks
really
great,
only,
bro.
let me see how the backyard looks. Okay. So it was a moment where I had a bunch of tias, tios, primas, primos, family. It was a birthday party in the backyard. So there was this moment in the party. Where my wife pulls out a cardboard cutout. Okay. And this was a 45, the 45th president of the United States, who I call Uncle Trump. And I
Theo
know I,
Trump, yeah.
yeah, Theo Trump. So I say this, and I know it ruffles some people's feathers. And it's funny how it does, because I'm thinking, oh, really? Politics, like arguing about taxes, ruffles your feathers and changes your life and world, or just shocks you and rocks you, or talking about, because we could talk about that stuff all day long. It definitely affects us, and it's something we do talk about here, because here we don't shy away from anything. But when people tell me, "Oh, it's controversial," well, then it is what it is. What do you want me to say about it? I mean, I was gang banging 20 years, and those stories that are on the members only, getting shot and stabbed and all that stuff right there. I mean, I'm really not trying to live or be like anyone else. I really don't give a rat's about, anyone's opinion. I'm going to speak straight from my heart, right? So this president, right? So she comes out, my wife comes out with this cardboard cutout. She's dancing with this cardboard cutout in my backyard, and it goes from the food community to this platform to that platform. And I made a little video about it. Did you see that? What are your thoughts about that?
I thought you guys were having a good time, man. And I'm not sure if you said your wife turned 40. Happy birthday to your wife, man. Respectfully, I say that. Happy birthday. 40 is a beautiful stage of life, man, because I don't want to say you're at the middle, but it's definitely a lot of people don't get to 40. I turned 40 a few years ago. I'm actually going to be 44 here soon. But I thought it was great, man. You guys are having a good time. You guys are having a family that can get together and have fun like that, bro. There's not a lot of families that could do that, man. I mean, you can have a bunch of friends, but you don't really see a lot of families. A lot of stuff happened after all this COVID and people got distant. And when I see how you guys were living, I was like, you know what? They got a really united family. They got to, you're doing your thing, man. I was impressed, And let me tell you something about the Donald Trump though. I went to New York, um, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and I went to Donald Trump
Hotel.
Tower, bro. And when I walked in, they're like, they have security, right? And they're like, "Are you a United States citizen?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm a United States." I showed them my passport. I went in there. I had a lunch with my wife at his restaurant. I looked around. I bought a mega hat, right? Make America Great hat. And I wanted to bring it to show it to you today because I know it's gonna be a souvenir one day, bro. And it's a special thing,
This
man.
guy,
Like I
man.
look at it like this, bro. I look at it like this. If the
Yeah,
world if the world loves you, you're not of God, bro. I always go back to the word of God. And I'm not saying Donald
that
Trump is a
part.
man of God or that part or whatever. Dude, there's a reason why this world hates this dude. There's a reason why they want to just crumple him, lock him up, throw him away, and who knows what's gonna happen to him, bro, because he's facing a lot of legal problems. And I think he got wind of your guys' video because you guys had a real classy thing going on. It didn't look ghetto at all, bro. I say that respectfully. It looked really classy, really like really proper, bro. You guys were having fun, man. You guys
Yeah,
look like you guys were having fun.
and my wife, she is that way. Well, yeah, she leans a lot more toward, okay, we're yin and yang. Okay, she didn't
Yeah,
come, yeah, she doesn't know anything as far as like the streets and all that. You know what I mean? I'm the one that with the street IQ. You know what I mean? When she travels a lot, I used to travel with her a lot because she does a lot of destination weddings, right? She'll go to France and she'll go to Mexico, and she flies around to does weddings, right? I used to travel with her. Now I just want to make sure she's surrounded by the right
wow,
people, because while
yeah.
they're having fun, when you have a street IQ, when everyone's having fun and all that, I'm clocking people. I'm seeing people. I'm like, oh, that dude's a hustler. Oh, that dude just saw us park the car. He got the eye on the car. Oh, this guy, you know what I mean? So that never goes away. So we're
Like the
yin and
Matrix
yang.
guys,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Matrix just zoom, 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 start
Spider
start
sense.
feeling.
whatever you
Spider
want to
sense,
call it,
bro.
spider sense. But my wife is the opposite of that. She's elegant, she's
Yeah,
classy, and a lot. And she's been getting ever since that video came out, thousands and thousands of follower requests. But she made the IG private because, again, you know what I mean. Who you letting in? Me, I leave it open just for the brand and stuff like that.
yeah,
But I was mentioning that because it's like, who gives a rat? I mean, who you vote for? I mean,
yeah.
you vote for who I believe I'm gonna vote for when all the cards are laid on the table. What's the best card?
Yeah, and
Who?
you got you
Yeah,
with your channel and other channels, it ain't to promote who to vote for, but it's to talk about the topics, what they're about, and a lot of Latin people, a lot of street people, they don't care about the news, bro. They're not gonna waste their time and just do a bunch of research. Not all, but some might do their research, and we need to learn more about what's going on in politics, man, because it does matter. And you talking about it, other channels talking about it, American Cholos pretty much talking about it, a lot of politics and other podcasts too, and I love to hear about that stuff because I learn, and I'm not gonna
yeah,
just be influenced to say I'm gonna vote for your who you're voting for, but I like to hear what you guys are talking about because I have more information than what I had before,
yeah.
you know?
So politics, yeah. So we'll talk politics. We'll touch on it here and there. Of course, it's not the central focal point of Chicano Tube. I mean, a lot of people, it's gonna go the way it's gonna go right here. Of course, I like to talk about helping the youth and helping the youngsters. Because I all everything I'm currently doing right now, I did before I jumped on YouTube. I'll say I'm
Yeah,
not, YouTube is not creating anything new to me other than creating a podcast or whatever, learning all that. I'm for unity of the raza for sure
that's right.
because I saw too many. There's too many people that got lost, man. That I have buddies of mine that got lost, and I was like, man, if they just had another chance, and the people that I do know that have another chance won't blow it if they're a real one. The ones that did like 20, I got a lot of partners that just are coming home from SB 260, the juvenile life.
Wow.
It was Prop 21 came out and they started giving juvenile life. They used to send us to the penitentiary at 16 years old. That was crazy.
That is crazy,
That was
bro.
crazy. So a lot of things have changed. A lot of people, but I'm for the unity of the raza. And when I still see the homies or whatever you want to call them, they still paint my cars, do my body work. There's the best tacos, or like you mentioned, are in the most dangerous neighborhoods, or in the
Oh yeah.
hood. I'm there every single day, but now I'm doing the positive, right? Of selling houses. I'm teaching the raza things that they don't know, like in business class about, because the raza doesn't even know about pulling out home equity line of credits loans, and instead someone lied to them and told the raza, no, you have to refinance and change your mortgage rate, and you don't have to do none of that. And now the wife is able to retire, they're able to pay off the daughter's college, all this on the equity of their home. Again, I'm in the hood still, but now I'm helping people. And I'm trying to lift this stigma, this cloud. Gracias, Brenda Love. There's a Chicana right there. I appreciate you, amiga. I'm trying to lift this stigma cloud off of Salinas, because for many years, and this was a UFW headquarters,
Oh yeah.
because we're on the corrida run, right? Do you guys have a headquarters down there?
No, but I know with Salinas, man, it was one of the headquarters because a lot of chemicals were sprayed there, and there's a lot of kids being deformed. They're born deformed, and I know that there's a lot of opinions about Cesar Chavez, man, and everybody has their right to say and feel what they feel about him. And there is some things that he said in life, that I don't agree with. But I'm the type of person, bro, that I don't judge a man for one or two or three statements he says, even though they might not be. It might scratch my heart and not want to hear that. I'm not a sniper to look at the bad. I'm a sniper to look at the good, and I think that he was out there to make a difference. And the movement is not just about him. The movement is the people. And he was an organizer. He was somebody that had gas stations and started a credit union and was ahead of his time. And you can call him a communist, but you know what? Estaba haciendo una revolución el hombre, you know what I'm saying? And like you're saying, your wife traveled to London or wherever. I just went to Paris this year, bro, with my wife, man. And when I was over there in Paris in France, I was like, man, can you believe that the USW was even moving out here at one point when the grave stuff was happening? They stopped over there buying graves. Like it was worldwide, bro. And my wife would say, why are you thinking about that right now when there's so much art? Because Paris is the art world of the capital of the world, bro. And but I was thinking about the cultura because I was out there during Cinco de Mayo, and I was thinking about the culture, and I was thinking about even is there lowriders in Paris, and how far do we go? How far does our culture go, man? And but with the Cesar Chavez thing, you know, this cause, bro, made it to the White House, is respected by the White House, and this cause is something that it is an honorable thing, and I would never want to present it like like a war tactic, or nah, man, it's non-violence. It's non-violence, bro. It's non-violence, and it's for unity for the people to organize. And Cesar Chavez was a very important part of this, and one of the most important parts. But the people are the important part, bro. Us, that dream, that si se puede, that we could organize what you're doing with your channel
Oh
through
yeah.
Chicano Tube, and the influence that you're gaining and growing in, bro. Because
Yeah.
people are tuning in, and I love watching your stuff, bro. Like even when you're talking about your homes, and you were saying you're making this much money off your homes, and you started dropping the price on the rent, I was like, wow, look at this guy. This guy's not a greedy man. This guy, that's why I think that God is prospering you, bro. And we always got to remember, man, that when he expands our territory, we got to get in line, man, so we could really be effective leaders, not sergeants, or not generals, but leaders of for the people, bro. We don't have to cause a war, bro. We just gotta wake people up, man. We gotta wake people's faith up. We gotta wake people's
Right.
hearts up, and we gotta get them out of their negativity and say, you know what? It's okay, bro. We all failed. We all made poor choices, like you, bro. You got your homes, you got your businesses. There's a lot of people that could say that, bro. You and your wife, the way you guys are living, the way you guys are presenting yourselves, you guys are really classy, man, and it's to be respected, bro.
You know
And
what? You said something right now that you kind of raised my curiosity though. You said something about Cesar Chavez. Was there something in the Cesar Chavez background that had to do with chemicals? You know, it's funny you mentioned that. I'm driving on my way to church, and I put on my IG. I guess I never really put myself, taking. I don't really take videos of me or photos of me in church, right? But what I do is I'm a camera operator. So that's what I do in the church, right? So
wow,
my wife today, she took a photo and I put it on the IG story. I'm a camera operator, right? For like the live stream or the main pantallas in there or even the overflow lobby. And so on my way there, I saw a helicopter flying down spraying chemicals. Of course, I've
yeah,
seen them all my life, right? I'm born here,
yeah.
right? And so I seen a helicopter spraying chemicals. Is there something to that? Is that something that we should be not needing to do? Or because you mentioned it when you mentioned Cesar Chavez, what do you know about that? Or qué pasó?
Honestly, there's a lot of things within chemicals, man, that I think that, I mean, just think about it, bro. They're spraying, even when you see these cams, whatever they're spraying in the sky, all these chemicals around us, bro. We don't really know what it is. We don't really know what it is. I'm not gonna act like I know, but if we don't know, it's already a red flag, you know? And with this whole Central Valley, bro, this whole Central Valley, look how much food is right now. Look how much the grocery store has tripled or whatever. Like the Central Valley, bro, is so important to the world, and we feed the world. Our economy and our power that we have financially between Sacramento and Bakersfield is a powerhouse, bro. I know LA, and they have the Long Beach docks, and in San Francisco they come from Japan. But right here in the Central Valley, if there was to be right now is the time that there if there was to be a real strike, a real unity with the people, they could change the law. They could shut this whole state down, bro. They'll shut this whole thing down. And see, that's why I believe in this Si Se Puede. Because I was a part of AB 2183, and I marched with them in Madera, in Livingston, in Manteca, and I met with them. I gave them rides home, and then I went to the Capitol and I marched to the Capitol with them. And guess what, bro? And I went by myself, bro. I went by myself, and as I was walking, guess who was right next to me? And this was not planned. This was not like I wasn't trying to do this. It was Paul Chavez. It was actually Cesar Chavez's son, right? So I was walking next to him, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is a privilege to me because I'm seeing the man through his son, you know." And I one day I pray to God I get to interview him because I did see a lot of homies there, bro. A lot of it's Northern California, bro. It's Sacramento. A lot of people show up, and I seen him walking, and I was walking behind him to make sure that he didn't have no security. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna walk behind him, make sure that nobody does nothing to this man. And I was walking behind him, and I seen all these politicians whispering in his ear, coming out of the woodwork. And then I seen all these, northerners, homies walking with the Si Se Puede, and I was thinking, I wonder what he thinks about that. I wonder how he feels when he sees the cultura, how it got, you know, that thing came together, or the nonviolence. And if I'm in no position to talk about any street stuff, I am not a gangster. I don't claim to be anything, man. I am from the Central Valley, but like you're talking, Mikey, we're in a stage of growing. Okay, I have a lot of family that's been to prison too, and I've always, I, I'm not a gang member, man, but I didn't want to talk to anybody from the South because I felt like, you know what, one day these guys are gonna hurt my people, my family, my friends, my childhood friends, and it wasn't because it was personal, but it was because it was in this war, bro. It was in this mental war. Now we're in a stage when I talk to people from LA, like Paul from LA Times and Trucker Cholo, and I feel afraid of them, bro. And it's not because I was a gang member, but it was because sometimes you're family bound. You know what I'm saying? And what your family does, it involves you, bro. And I'm a Christian, bro, and I have many failures and faults, more losses than wins. But one thing about me is that I have not stopped going towards God or going towards the good, and I'm happy that we're at a stage in Chicanoism where we're opening up the doors. Look at in your chat, the people that are there, some of the most solid ones holding you down where they're from. It's like, wow, praise God that we got a change coming. We got
Right.
there's something happening. Una revolución, an awakening is happening, man, because it's
Yeah.
time, bro. It's
You know what?
time.
And it's funny 'cause we're not talking about a new movement, or I'm not talking when I say I put in my IG bio, it's a movement or something like that, right? But it is a movement, but it's really an old movement. It doesn't need a new name. It's called La Raza. That's what it is. And just like we were talking about a little bit about the timeline of Cesar Chavez or the Raza, if we would unite, we would be so powerful that these politicians, you know what, once they try to run a play or once they do a money grab or something that we don't like, we get together,
Shut them down.
boom, they're out of office and they're shut down. Now you're mentioning Latinos. I have a lot of Latino subscribers. Okay. I'm Mexican American, Chicano, however you want to say it. It's funny because now it's Mexican Heritage Month, but also the U.S. calls it Hispanic Heritage Month. And I recently had a guest. Did you see Wayward Son?
Which one? Which one was that
Wayward
one?
Son. So maybe about 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, I had someone who just studied a lot of Chicano history. Not just
Oh
that,
yeah, 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 yeah. That
he had,
guy that was on super chicanismo.
his
Yeah.
father was in the only or one of the few segregated Chicano army
Wow.
units in World War. Man, I don't know. It's probably two, right? Maybe two, or maybe it's one. I don't even know, right? Where, of course, civil rights had an, or what's it called? Civil rights. I'm having a little brain fart or what? Civil, not civil rights. What's the word? When Martin Luther King enacted everything in the '60s, he kicked off civil. I now I'm going blank. Well, none of that
That's
had happened yet because we still hadn't gone through the 60s yet. So he has a
yeah.
lot of history, a lot of history. He was talking about, and I seen Dolores Huerta talk about it too. She says she doesn't like the term Latinx and
Yes.
she doesn't like the term Hispanic because she said both of those terms, Latinx and Hispanic, deny indigenous roots. What do you, I mean, does the word Latino, is that something, is that made? Is that another label on the can? Where does that word come from? Because I'm not, and again, I'm not talking about Latinos aren't raza. We're at the end of the day, we're all brown. And,
Yeah.
and we can go back to all the ancestry and we all came from one tribe or another tribe. Let's
We're
just
a bit
keep it
we're
real. But
a
what do you think about that and how people argue about the words that you're Latino? No, I'm not, and all that.
I think there's a lot of, our culture, bro, is like a big gavan. It's a gavan with multiple colors, bro. And I think that, there is people that are in Mexico, there is people that are Chicanos, there is people that consider them Latin, and that's okay if you identify as that. I can't tell anybody ever to say you have to identify like I identify. I identify as Chicano. You know what I'm saying? I identify as first generation born in America. I identify as a Spanish speaking as my first language, and I had to go to school and learn English and always worry about feeling like I wasn't white, or I didn't fit into this world, bro. I didn't fit into America, homie. I felt like I would be laughed at. I felt like, a lot of people from LA or the Bay Area, they probably had to deal with different races, but when you're in the Central Valley, the farmers are Anglo, bro. And I'm not in no way speaking bad about Anglo people or anything, but when you were born here in the 80s and 90s, there was racism, bro. There was racism against Mexicans, and me being a Spanish speaking, and I truly believe that also being Chicano means that either you were gang affiliated or the gang life affected you, and I wasn't gang affiliated. It was around me, but I think I was more affected by it because others people's choices, like in my podcast, bro, I want to do an interview with somebody, this guy that I'm thinking about, and I want to call it being related to a convict, the other side of the coin. Because a lot of these convicts talk about doing 20 years in the pen. But what about the family that had to wait for these people, bro? What about the torture every Thanksgiving and every Christmas that you couldn't even enjoy your meal knowing your loved ones are in the hole? What about that, And I think that being Chicano is that cultura and this Latinx and all that. I really don't understand that, and I don't even know why somebody would want to identify as that. I think it's more of the new generation, but I think people identify as Latino, Chicano, Mexican American. And I seen, you just got your brand new tattoo, bro. You're getting blasted up. Congratulations, man. I got the Mexican American flag right here. That's a Chicano,
Cover up,
Mexican American right here. And I seen
okay,
yours too. I seen yours too, man. And I was like, look
okay.
at Mikey, man. He's a
It's on.
you're getting it in.
I'm on my fourth cover up session. I'm actually gonna get at Marvelous because the chest. I need someone to draw it, and the only people I knew that draw it were they were in the pen or those kind of
Yeah.
guys, right? Speaking of that, you had mentioned, right? There's a lot of channels out there, and they stick their chest out. I did this, I did that, I did time, and this yard and that yard and all that. Let me just keep it real, for the gente, because you know how I always speak from my corazon. That's nothing to be proud of. That's actually something you should be ashamed of. I mean, let's just keep it real, gente. I mean, back in the day, in the traditional days, not talking about Cali or gang banging or Cali politics. Think about it like this. Imagine this. Back in the traditional days, right? There was a black sheep almost in every family. But you think that that cat was walking around sticking his chest out at the barbecue, thinking that he was the baddest person in the family? No, he's probably the one that didn't talk at the family function, sat down because everyone knew el Rudy salió de la cárcel otra vez. Pinche, ahí está.
El toro, allá va el
And,
toro otra vez. Ay, Dios mío.
and so let's just keep it real. That's nothing to be proud of. I when I started going, when I gave my life to the Lord and I started going to church and then I eventually got baptized, I remember one time the enemy told me like this, cabron. I was sitting in the pews, right? And this is the enemy's voice because you come to learn the voice of God and the voice of the enemy by one, the voice, and two, what is it the voice said, right? So I'm sitting right there inside a church, and this voice came in my ear. He told me, the voice came like this and said, you're the worstest one in this room, accusing me.
How loud was that voice? How loud was it?
It was a whisper.
Because I learned one
It
thing
was
at
like
a
a whisper. It was like it was just well, let's just say it's a thought. I don't even know if I
yeah.
want to say a whisper. It's more of a thought because again, I'm new to this whole thing, right? And my wife was like the worship leader. My wife has the anointed fingers on the keyboard.
Wow,
Yeah, no,
that is awesome.
yeah, my wife can like Ray Charles this thing blindfolded and
Wow.
and go. Yeah, so that was my wife, right? So I remember him telling me that, and you know, it's just I just see these channels. I guess getting back to what I was talking about, you see people talking about that I did this and I did that. They should be ashamed, man. Should be embarrassed. We need to grow up. The only thing I gained from that was the confidence that if I ever did make it home, there was going to be no obstacle I wasn't going to be able to hurdle. It didn't
Well,
matter.
there's never
I can go to Weddles in high end neighborhoods and be amongst Weddles and sell their $4 or $5 million homes and not even flinch with my level of confidence because I already been through hell.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, it is to be respected, because you know, being proud and boasting about it is different, because
Okay,
I
stop right
mean,
there. Wait, 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 wait,
a lot of
wait,
people
wait, wait.
didn't survive that.
Prison is to be respected? No way,
No,
not
no, no.
going,
No, the
not
person,
going.
the person that went through that, like, that in their own hearts, bro, they did a sacrifice. That was their religion at the time, or maybe it still is. That was what they were willing to give their
Did.
life for.
Yeah, I know
But
what you mean.
the
I know what you mean.
the consequence of the torture they put not only their victims but their own families and so many people. I mean, it ain't nothing to be proud of. But I don't know if I could say to somebody that's been to the pen, like I have to respect what you've been through, but I can't glorify that. I'm happy I never went to prison. The last time I went to jail was 1998, and I wouldn't have made it, bro. I couldn't have been in the hole. I couldn't have been away from my family, my wife, and I'm not even
I'm
trying
not.
to act like I was super strong. Like I'm gonna go in there and just be in a cuarto for 15 years. Nah, bro. I'm luckily God saved me from all that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, what I'm gonna say is I'm gonna keep it real. A real one, or I guess people want to call it OG or something like that,
Yeah,
is you'll be able to recognize him or her without even just by knowing it. Why? Because they're not trying to put you on. They're not trying to put these youngsters in jail.
yeah,
They're not trying to
yeah,
put guns in their hands. They're not trying to put dope in their systems. They're not
yeah,
trying to poison our kids. If they want to make a career out of it, yes. And when you were talking about respect, oh yeah, the place where I'm coming from, I've
I feel you. I hear you.
been there, done that, right? And I'm
Yeah,
still in the neighborhood every single day, and they respect it. When I go over there, they watch. I'll go over there tomorrow. Hey, Mikey, the message yesterday from 4, 5, 6 youngsters. I just don't record. There's some other cats that come on YouTube. I think they have a complex, like they want to show themselves. Look, I'm in the neighborhood and all that. I'll never pull out. I'll walk up down. Like the other day, I was looking at a home over there by Fremont, and there's a neighbor. That's a neighborhood. That's right behind East Market. 4 or 5 youngsters. One of them recognized the channel. I would never pull out a camera. Hey, let's take a selfie and all that. The streets need to be respected, like you said, and
yeah,
that's their
yes.
own world. And
That's their
and
own
those
world.
that are in that world, let them govern it. Let them do what they do with it, and I do respect it. But when it
It's their
comes to
religion, bro.
the message, though, as far
Yeah,
as, hey, if you're gonna give your life for a property that you don't even own, and mom keeps getting more gray hair and
yeah.
sending you packages, and you keep leaving for 3 years at a time, 4 years at a time, five, and then they strike you out, that's not the way to go.
No, you don't just punish your victims. Like I said, those people that go in there and handle what they do, the family gets it. You can't make up for decades. You can't make up for. I remember when we were 16 and now I'm 39 in your home, and you just can't make up. But let's get back into something a little different. You were talking about church, right? I don't know if you guys know, I'm a published author. My book is called God's Fingerprints, right? And I want to talk about a little bit about my book because I don't know, man. Books are so important, Mike. Books are so important because one book can go to so many places you could never imagine. And literally, we all have a story. We all have a story. You have a story. A lot of times, us that go to church or been to church or have been at church, we've already seen miracles, bro. We don't even if we don't see another miracle, we could always go back to our heart and remember those miracles that God did and get the strength to move on to the next day, to not just give up, bro, and not just to walk away from the family or just not care anymore, because nobody's perfect, bro. We need each other as people, but we need God too, man, because if we have positive influences that are examples and doing things that other people haven't done, we're looking at somebody and say, you know what? That guy is doing all you're talking about being a movie camera guy, like you do a lot, bro. You do a lot, and I mean, like you're talking about the youth you go see. Oh man,
Yeah,
I would love
yeah.
to do something like that. I'm hoping to get involved with my church to one day go to juvenile halls. That's always been a dream of mine because I actually got the privilege to speak to the youth. The youth group at my church just got started, bro. It was just established, and they gave me the privilege to kind of open it up. And I realized one thing: it's almost easier to soup up a new car than to um, redo a salvage car. And I talk about age difference. Like older people, bro, they come with a broken heart. They come with many untrust and they're set in their ways. They're not. Everybody's working and trying to get by, and they don't have a lot of energy to really strive for greater and bigger things because we're just trying to get by, a lot of people. But the youth, we can make a difference in the youth, bro. They
That's
still got
right.
their chapters ahead of them. They still got their whole lives, And our mistakes is their blessing, you know. And a lot of times people say, I don't want to talk about the ugly side of my life. I made hella mistakes. Like I said, I've had way more losses than wins. I've had I've had a lot of stuff happen to me in my life. I haven't always been in my right mind. The pressures of life have. I've been married 19 years, and I love my family. I love my wife. I have an angel as a wife, bro. And I think like, man, I come from all this childhood trauma and just growing up in this madness, bro. And sometimes as you get older, you realize like, man, you know what? I don't have to think like that no more. I don't have to think like the old ways. I want to reinvent myself. I want to become a new person through Christ, but also be a man, bro. Una persona que se comporta
Yeah.
bien, una persona de ejemplo, una persona de clase, una persona que dicen, ¿sabes qué? You're all tatted up, bro, but you act like you have some class, man. And that's the kind of example we got to try to
Put up that book again. Put up that book again. Just put it up right there. Let's see. We see the author at the bottom. Lift it up. There it is. Alfonso Gomez, and then again, God's fingerprints. A story of a pastor's son. Hey, remember I had mentioned that, right? Que el diablo me dijo, "You're the worst one in the room." Back then, was doing like home invasions. Wait,
Ay,
home
Dios
invasion.
mío.
I know that's members only stories, right? Home invasions. Um, and I remember one time there was a probation officer that from juvenile hall. Okay, he was a juvenile probation officer. My best man in my wedding. Shout out Ray Chicano. My best man in my wedding. He was his probation officer. He wasn't mine. We were in the juvenile hall at the same time. He would go down and Morales, and he would go to his door, right? And anyways, he went to that church that my wife,
Wow.
yeah, my wife took me to, right? And you know me, I'm new. I don't know nothing. Again,
Yeah. Hmm.
yeah, I don't know nothing. And I remember I saw him, and I'm like, oh man, I'm trying to do good now and everything. I'm like, oh man, but I ended up going for a second term. But anyways, long story, members only. And I remember I saw him and I was like, oh man, I hope he doesn't say anything. I hope he doesn't say seriously, right? I hope because I know he knows my face because when you get arrested with someone, they kind of know who your defendant is, right? I was like, man, I hope it didn't. And then he was sitting a couple pews in front of me. It's like a 500 member church, maybe by 500 member church.
Wow.
It was like a movie theater, and they bought it over there in Salinas, right by Old Town. Anyways, he walked up, and a lot of people knew my wife's uncle was a minister. She was like the leader of the worship team and all this stuff, right? So my wife's family was known, right? And I remember he told me like this: "We're just married, right?" He goes, I know you from somewhere. I know you from somewhere. And I was like, oh, okay, gotcha, man. Don't say nothing. And then he didn't say it, and I didn't say nothing. I played dumb. So another week went by, about another week went by. He came up again, this time walking toward us. He goes, oh, yeah, like this. And I burned me so bad, man. I was like, it burned inside of me because I don't think I was saved yet. You know what I mean? I was just going to church. I wasn't saved yet. And he told me, I remember you. I used to work in probation. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Now I know he was just speaking from his heart. He wasn't saying nothing that was untrue. If
Bro,
I if
that's
I
crazy.
if I'm the one that did something and he remembered me, it just was what it was. I think my wife might have been a little bit embarrassed, but anyways.
Bro, you are, man. I have a similar story, bro. I went to juvenile hall a couple times, right? And my probation officer was a pastor's son. And at the time, my dad and my mom were doing a second service there because my dad, I grew up as a pastor's son, right? And this guy would come and he was my probation officer. He'd come to my juvenile hall and say, God has a plan for your life. And I'm like, bro, I don't want to hear this right now. I don't need. Sometimes they say that pastor's sons are the worst kids in church. And that's kind of like how we were, man. We were the kids that didn't want to go and we got into all kinds of stuff, bro. But this guy was also, and after he became my friend, he stopped being a probation officer and went into full-blown ministry. But he was actually my probation officer, man. That's crazy. Shout out to Robbie, man. That was his name.
That's right, Pocho Live Podcast in the casa. He says, shout out to all in the chat. Si Se Puede Podcast. His interview is up right now on Tony A. He went over there. I was in the comment section about maybe 5-10 minutes away because I had something else to do, but I appreciate you, the Pocho Live Podcast. And yeah, what you were talking about is
Shout out to Pocho, man. I watched half of it so far, but
okay.
one thing that stood out, man, I can't believe you were at Cesar Chavez's funeral, bro. One thing about his funeral is that he got buried in a humble wooden casket of boards. And I remember being a kid and reading his books, and I'm like, why did he get buried like that, like in fence sports almost, bro. Like, why did he do that? And it impacted me because I felt like it was something so humble, bro. He could have been like James Brown, like put me in a gold caja, you know what I'm saying? But I can't believe Pocho won. That really touched my heart that you
Man.
had the privilege to be there, bro. What an honor, bro. That I would love one day to talk to you and you share a little bit more about that with me, man. Because I would put that in my heart and I let it come out, bro. I
O sea,
appreciate all the
the casket was just tablas,
tablas, homie. Tablas, Mikey.
humble.
Humble. Like he made his brother make it, and it's like, why did he do it like that?
Yeah,
Like I remember when I was reading a book as a kid, and I was like, why did he do that? Like it didn't make sense to me that somebody would get. It looked like, was he poor? I was like maybe 12, 13 years old, and I was like, why did he do that? But it impacted me, and I told my wife, I go, if I ever die, I want to die like that. You know what I'm saying? I want to die humble. You know
tablas.
what I'm saying? Humble, bro, because we could be prideful and we could come with a lot of scars that would make us tough and mean. But you know what? Get through that, man. Be who you really are. We're created to love, man, and inspire. We're created to respect and enjoy each other in our communities of people.
Yeah,
We all could do
that's
this,
right.
man. I know that I might not be the most perfect example, but I'm still healing myself. You know what I'm saying? And but I'm growing, and I'm trying to be a better example as a father.
That's
I
right.
don't claim to be a tough guy. Like, oh, I was a gay. You know how I'm tough? I wake up every day and go to work. You know how I'm tough? I
That's
love my
right.
wife with all my heart. You know how I'm tough? I love my kids and I make sure that I water them and I try to make them grow healthy,
Yeah,
emotionally happy. And that's how I'm tough. If I'm going to call myself a tough guy, that's the way I'm tough. I'm tough with trying to
that's
strive for
right.
the greater good, you
You know,
know?
I came up in a generation where there was a lot of tough guys here in Salinas. Okay, you know, Salinas is known
Oh,
as
yeah.
like headquarters for norteños. It's like the mecca, and I say this, you know, respectfully because
Yeah.
they're just historical facts that in the makeup in Salinas, it's like 85, 90%, you know, norteño, and then the other one is sureño, right? There was a lot of tough guys. I came up in that generation where as soon as you hit the street, it was a war. It was a war just going to. I'm glad my children will never, ever have to experience this in their lives. How I used to have to walk to school, and it wasn't just the opposite side of the color bar. We're fighting ourselves. Why? Because just like in Los Angeles, you know, every other street, they're all on the same team. We'll say the blue team, and every other street has a neighborhood. That was Salinas right here. So we had like I don't know what it was, the concentration where you know the stories, and there's YouTube videos, and I don't have to say much, but I came from a generation there was a lot of tough guys. And you know, I'm gonna keep it real with you. When we're in the juvenile hall and they would put us in a certain unit, kind of when you knew you were going to the youth authority, they'd put us in B unit. If you got a green jumpsuit, when it was actually a two-piece, like a little karate suit, but like the two-piece, right? Yeah, yeah, like a two-piece, right? With a little with the Bruce Lee's. If they put you there, you're pretty much going to YA. A lot of the homies, and these are tough guys that you know, I mean, just when they're
Gallo.
yeah, gallos, when you were measuring yourself back then, that's what we
Yeah.
did, right? You had to prove yourself, make a name, and
Yeah.
all that. Now I see a lot of them, and they're on some grown man stuff, and I'm so proud of that. But anyways, a lot of them had Bibles. A lot of them had Bibles in the room, stuff that maybe the youngsters now, you know, they kind of like, this and this and this and that. You know what? Don't shot your youngsters. Don't not pick up that word, because that word is living. That word is gonna put life inside it. I remember being in there. I've had a Bible también. I would read it. I would read that Bible, and they were breaking us off, man. 6 years, 9 years. A lot of people were going for knocking off liquor stores and stuff like that. And you know, we were like the toughest of the. I thought the '90s was like real tough. You had real tough guys shedding a tear because they
Yeah.
know they're gone for 15, or they gave them juvenile life, and it was what it was. You hug them, you love on them, and then they got to catch that bus, and it was what it was. But now a lot of them are coming back into the community
Yeah. They're coming back.
and doing good, and the people accept and hear that message.
And let me share a little part of my book, a little story, bro. I actually made it to Brazil in this book, right? And I was actually in the Amazons, and I was actually around a tribe called the Imbaquaras and the Paracis. And when I was out there, it took 3 days to go inside the Amazons. True story, right? But there was indigenous people, bro. They didn't know how to. They spoke a language. When I heard them talking, it sounded like a noise where it was like, what? It was so unique that it was such a tribal language. And one of the missionaries was telling me, they're like, I stayed with them 10 years to learn their language. And when I learned their language, I translated the Bible into their language. And when the day I started preaching, all the Indians ran up to me and started ripping up the Bible and started eating it. Literally, bro, like physically eating it. And they thought that if they ate the word of God, that God was gonna go inside of them. And I
Oh
think that
yeah.
people are that hungry even today, because it's not something soft to read the Bible. It's not a cowardly act, bro. Cowardly act is not getting close to God. You know what? When you get close to the light, you see yourself, you see your flaws, bro, and it hurts, but be man enough to face it and heal. It's time for us to heal, man. We come with some baggage, bro, with some families. We grew up in some blended families. We grew up, the people that came from Mexico, bro, they went through so much. And we had to grow up in so much that was going on around our family that we probably didn't understand as kids. And we went to the streets. We're like, you know what? Home is a little rough, but I'm gonna go out here and just have some fun. And you go play, then you go pay. You know what I'm saying? Then it turns into what it turned into. But that story, man, it touched my heart, because I think like those guys that are reading, it's okay. I know people don't want to hear preaching no more. People don't want to hear a testimony no more. But you know what? Just read. Just read the word of God. Start with John. Start with Psalms. And and it will speak to you, man, and it will encourage you. It's like water for the soul, and we all need it. We
Bro,
all
we
need it.
all the homies went to church. O
And I
sea,
love that, bro. I love
I
that.
actually, well, okay, let's say some, and I'm talking about back in the juvenile, right? I don't even know how we got there, but it's because we're talking about tough guys.
Yeah,
Anyways,
tough guys.
it probably was for some of them just to get out of the room.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Hey, you get a room. But remember, just boom, you'd have to stand up, boom, straighten yourself out. You stand in front of your door. We're going down the hallway. We're going in there. But yeah, they were breaking a lot of people off a lot of years for, again, things that we have to own. The
yeah,
things that we did, we do have to own. I don't shy away from my past. I know my past is what it is, and it molded me to where I'm at now, because I can teach my kids and the youngsters how not to go through those pits. Like, one thing that I talk about a lot about is victim mentalities.
yeah.
And I try to tell the youngsters, no, you're not a product of your environment. That's not the reason to throw it all away because I did 20 years. I'm going to throw it all away because I went to YA. I'm going to throw it all away. Well, it blows me even more is the opposite of that, is that people that talk about it all the time and glorify it and all this other BS, right? But victim mentalities, I try to tell the youngsters, you're not a product of your environment. You're a product of your choices. Yes, the environment we lived in did not help for nada. No, it did not. It doesn't help when you're given a card, and I don't know how to play poker, but whatever a bad hand is in poker, it doesn't matter if what's a bad hand in poker.
I don't even know. Probably something that don't match. Probably, I don't know.
Okay, a bunch of threes, a bunch of fives, or what? It doesn't look like a good hand. Okay, it doesn't help that we got that hand, but you're a product of your choices.
Yeah,
And now me going to the youngsters, and talking to them all the time. And I go under the banner of the church. That's
that's
how
awesome.
I go in there. I put on a pizarron, the meeting I've had since 2000. My son reminded me because I took him one time, 15. I've had this meeting since 2015. I call it Real Talk with Mike, because I try to identify with something they can identify. Yes, they want to hear a war story every once in a while. Yes, they might just come for the chips and the Snickers and the papitas. They get the word and they get a
Yeah.
message that resonates. So most of the time, they'll put one of the youngsters will pull me to the side and be like, "Hey, what you talked about? That hit me right here, man. My older brother was in YA, my dad, my mom, my mom with different men, and even all the stepdads were in gang. It was just there's a lot of generations of gangs in Salinas way.
Oh, I could imagine, bro. I could
There is
imagine.
a lot.
I could imagine, man, and it's amazing that you're doing that, Mikey, because there's so many other men that could also contribute. You only because you failed or you've been through a lot doesn't mean you're a loser or you're a failure. You're a failure if you don't use that for the good. We gotta use what meant to destroy us to destroy what it's trying to destroy people. We're coming out of a hole in life. We're coming out of a hell hole. We're coming out of a tsunami. The 90s was, even if you weren't gang banging, it's like, you think me being from Modesto, if I go to LA, and I get arrested and I go to the Twin Towers, they're gonna care that I'm not a gang member. They're gonna be I'm gonna get it was gonna be dangerous. I remember going in that direction at Disneyland and be like, oh my God, I don't want to get in trouble out here. Not because I was a gang member, but it doesn't matter, bro. If you're from here or there, that's what it was, you know. But now things are changing with this. I really think, man, that this fight, it really did something, bro. It really did something, man. It opened up something, man, very special that we cannot downgrade or say that it didn't matter. It mattered, man. It mattered because it brought a dream. It brought a. I don't even think it was a dream. I think it brought a prayer, of decades of prayer together. That now there's opportunity to lead. Now there's opportunity to influence. Now there's opportunity to expand people's mind and say, you know what? Don't go in that direction, or hear this story, or what do you think about that, or that guy's not the guy to follow, or this, or look at the situation, how we're dealing with it, what are we gonna do as people? And this is an amazing time for the raza, bro. It's just sad because there's so much pride, there's so much corazon, and that's always been our downfall. Our hearts are so big that we gotta start thinking. We gotta start thinking. We gotta slow down. We gotta slow down. It ain't takeoff. It ain't missile. It ain't launch mode no more. It's just like, look, we're in our 40s plus, and it's like we got families. We got a lot going on. How can we influence? And believe me, when you do good, it's not just helping them, it helps your soul, it helps your being as a person, you know, and it
Bravo.
deposits something in you, you know,
That's
Mikey. Like
right.
when you go and help those kids, man, I bet you that you leave a piece of your heart when you leave that place, because you're like, you know what, man, some of these kids are going to go all the way. You already know, you have that IQ where you're
Yeah.
like, este carajo, ay Dios mío.
Yeah, they got
You, he,
tattoos on the face. They're like the alpha males of the group, and sometimes they separate because, of course, by gangs, right? These 12 guys are one gang, those three guys are another gang, or something like that, right? I get all of that, but I go tired. I go tired at the end of the day of work. And but I never want to menospreciar that ministry. I've had other ministers tell me, pastors tell me that's such a powerful thing because we do have the opportunity to change someone's life, man. Real quick, 7 million Venezuelans came to the US in 1983. Are you talking about like migrant caravans? There have been a crazy, more than ever, migrant caravans coming to the United States. They don't televise it on the news because, of course, the news is controlled. Okay. 4 out of like the 5 major networks are in bed with each other. If you didn't know this, gente, yes, 4 out of the 5 major networks are in bed with each other. That means the news is no son nuevas no more. It's just an agenda. Whatever they want you to believe and think, ahí te lavan el coco. There's been way more migrant caravans coming. I'm going to ask you a question right now. There's been way more migrant caravans coming. They don't want to show how much more of a mess. Of course, they're not wrapping them in foil no more, but they don't want to show that they have zero control, and they're literally just falling over the border wall and fence just in droves, and they can't control this problem because they're getting asylum, or they're getting anything, right? I understand they want to better their situation. If it was up to Cise Puede, if it was up to Cise, how is he controlling that situation? What kind of system can the U.S. come up with that's fair, that's going to deal with people in a timely manner, not separate them, not cause heartache, not cause tears to fall? What do you think kind of system needs to happen? In a short answer on that.
I think that they should work on giving out the visa a little bit easier instead of having years and years of waiting. Because there's people that are in Mexico with legit records, legit, paperwork, but they're on a waiting list, bro. And they got to make that more accessible to cross over. And realistically, borders matter. Borders matter, and even heaven has gates. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, it ain't just Mexicans coming into this world. We don't know who's coming in. We don't know what kind of people are coming to this side, and what they're doing, and it would never be to say
So do
stop
you do
them
you
or
do you agree with just full wide open?
no, 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 no. There has to be law and order, bro. There has to be law and order.
But a lot of
There
people
has.
say, "Oh, but that's not let's
And
not
this
let's
was
not put it."
Mexico, and this was Mexico before. We understand that, but we're living in today's times where this country is never going to be destroyed from the outside. It's going to be destroyed from the inside, man, and it's going to be destroyed from people, the wrong people
So
coming
you
in.
you agree open borders is not the right policy. There needs to be
No,
some kind of
no.
vetting.
Yeah, there definitely has to be some kind of vetting, and there definitely has to be for people that have already been here 20, 30 years, living a good life, being productive people for the country. They got to get them right, man, starting with them. But honestly, how many people do you know that are illegal? They're not coming over here like that anymore. I don't know anybody that oh, they just showed up yesterday. It ain't even like that no more. People from Mexico don't even want to come over here. When I go visit my dad in Jalos, they laugh at America. They're like, allá se va a caer todo and this and that. I don't really know anybody recently that you would say, oh, you don't have no papers. And if they don't have papers, it's because they've been here a long time in that situation, not being able to get fixed or in the process of getting fixed. They gotta get that right, man. Because there's a lot of people in the shadows. And imagine that, Mike, going to work, this real ID stuff. That's torture to live under. To think, man, they're gonna throw me to Mexico and I've been here for 25 years. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, man. That's not right either, bro. I
That's
don't
like
think that.
being on eggshells and banana
Yeah.
peels on top of that. That's crazy, right? You know what? Real quick, a lot of people didn't know this. Gente, this is gonna burst a lot of people's bubble, but I put information out to the raza and the gente just so they're up on game because they don't get it from anyone else. This is why a lot of people tap into Chicano Tube because you're gonna get it right here. Mexico currently, right now, the country of Mexico has greater GDP economic growth than the United States of America.
Wow.
Right now, you won't hear about this and other stuff because I'm a realtor, right? So I'm in real estate. Other stuff people don't will never hear on the news. Tell me if you heard this on the news or anyone in the comment section. What I just mentioned about Mexico's GDP being higher, no one's heard about that. And another thing that no one's heard about is that Mexico right now, the way they're going with the economic policies and the moves the president's making, okay, right now in the United States, we have 8% unemployment. 8%. That's not low. That's almost, and I don't know why I'm laughing because a lot of people are out of work. It's causing depression. It's causing suicide rates go up. It's causing divorces, families to be separated. This is what unemployment costs. That's why these issues have been around since the Roman times. So I didn't mean to laugh at it. 8% unemployment. I know this for a fact right now because I'm in the real estate market. But do you hear about that on the news ever?
You don't hear about it. No
You don't
way.
hear about it. You're gonna hear about it right here on Chicano Tube. That's for sure. Real quick, let's go over to the comments because some people were dropping really really good comments about
Shout
the
out to everybody in the comments,
yeah.
man.
Everyone comment section and Si Se Puede podcast again. Put up the libro. Let's put up a libro. Is there an Amazon link to the libro? Why
Yeah,
not?
there's an Amazon link. I actually have it in I have it in hardcover, audible, and ebook. And I'm praying one day, man, that we can make a movie out of it. We got too much talent, with Pastor David and with Paul from LA Times. These are guys that are movie guys, man. And I'm hoping that one day that this thing could come together and make Chicano movies. And it doesn't really have to be a full blown religious movie, but something that's gonna inspire the culture, and we got to get to that level, even if it's a short film. But yeah, this is my book. I've sent it to over 30 prisons. It's been to 5 countries. I've met people that they read it and they told me about it, and I thank God that people took the time to read my story because you know what, man, it was the hardest thing I ever did was talk about my life and talk about me being a kid and talking about my life, man. It was not easy, and when I closed it, I felt like I closed a lot of doors in my life, and I call it God's fingerprints because a lot of times you can't see God, but you'll be able to see his fingerprints in the goodness in people and the goodness in what he's doing, and that's what I'm trying to promote and inspire.
That's right.
And honestly, Mike, maybe some other time you could send me a PO box and I'll donate some books to the kids, bro, if it's possible.
That's right. No, I appreciate that. No, yeah, off the airway. The Mexican G said, I didn't know unemployment is it. Unemployment in Mexico. Check this out, man. In Mexico, if you don't wake up at the crack of dawn, jump on that camion to go to the jale, there's no frijoles, way. Okay, so over there, they understand that you have to go and get it and maybe in like because again in the US we can get comfortable when the economy's booming and we're the powerhouse and we have the strongest military in the country. Then the other countries can laugh at us and be like, well, they're just a country of playboys, or they got it so easy because they got everything right. that's what I heard, like in World War, a couple documentaries that I saw, that they just saw us as having everything, thinking that we're something. Boom, then we get hit, and then we go to war and all that. But unemployment in Mexico, do they send checks? I don't know, but I just know almost everyone over there has a hard work ethic, and that's the same blood that
Yeah,
pumps through our veins. I mean,
for
come on.
sure.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyways, real quick, I want to touch on this before you go. Another thing that people aren't talking about a lot right now is they're closing a lot of stores. They're talking about everyone that get poked with needles, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They're pushing a crazy agenda where now they just, our kids are in public schools and they're putting rainbow flags up there. There's videos circulating. They really want to groom our children. Okay, that's what they're trying to do, is by teaching sex education to 6-year-olds. And so this is what's going on in California. So all of this, I said that to say this. Do you think that this is just where they're going to run a rinse and repeat on 2024, and things are going to get worse, sir?
To be honest with you, this whole store closing thing, I'm not trying to sound like a I think that they're gonna
Hundreds
close
and
up.
hundreds of stores, and we're talking
Yeah,
major stores.
because I really believe, I think in my heart, man, that these stores are closing because they're gonna have government stores one day that only certain people go to. Man, we don't know if these are really the last days. If this ain't the last days, I don't know what is, bro. These things are happening fast in our country. This the shot stuff, the crime, the hopelessness, just there's no more hope out there, bro. You look at society and you look at San Francisco, it looks bad, bro. It's when they run into those stores and do what they do, like the government's trying to make it like that so people will shut their stores down. I think it's a part of the plan, man. That's why I think that right now that we have a voice, because you don't know how long YouTube is going to be around. You don't know how long we're going to be able to have the internet and talk about the things we're talking about. We got to talk about the future and make sure that our people are covered, man. And not to say only the brown. No, our people of our culture are people that identify how we do, how we think, how we have a perspective. We have to understand that tough times are coming, and if we don't start linking up and really uniting and really talking real talk and no frivolous talk, who knows what's gonna happen in the next 6 months, bro, with all these elections and with everything's happening. That's why every day, man, we gotta live it like it's our last day. Really,
Stay
man. It's
prayed up. Hit the
straight
morning on
up.
your knees. Hit your knees as soon as you get up, because hitting your knees is like putting gas in the tank. If you ain't got no gas in the tank, how far do you think the car is gonna go?
And I want to let the audience know, man, like a lot of times you might say, oh, they're talking about God, they're talking about this, and a lot of times people don't want to hear about that, because you think that if you're not involved in a ministry or you change your whole life around right away, that it's not for you. Look, man, not everybody's called to be a pastor, not everybody's called to be an evangelist. There's people. There's a thing in the Bible that is called the Levites. Not everybody's called to be a Levite, a priest. There's people that are called to be professionals, doctors, leaders in the community. There's things that you have a role in this too, man, that it still honors God. You know, be the best person that you can be as a human being. Go the highest potential that you could go to influence people you love and even influence the people you don't love. Because that's when true growth happens, when you influence those that you don't even care about, bro. And we have to share love. But you know what? I go to God for two reasons. You can't go nowhere else to go get forgiveness. I can't forgive you, bro. I can't forgive anybody. I go to God and He gives me forgiveness to give. And that's how you know if you're close to God. If you could forgive, that means you're close to the forgiver. And if you're close to the love, the God, then you're gonna have love to give. And if you don't have no love in your heart, you need to go talk to the man. You need to go talk to God, and he'll fill you up of forgiveness to forgive yourself and forgive people around you, because a lot of us we're consumed with so many problems around us, financial problems. These are tough times. People don't talk about it and don't want to talk about it. But this is not a time to be lost and ignore our families and our responsibilities. This is a time to get more serious than ever. You know?
Exactly, because if you look at social media is going to tell us, hey, it's a time to live your best life. And at the expense of what? At the expense of one, my soul? Or a lot of people just, because social media causes self-esteem issues to some. Oh, I just saw this picture, so I need to do that too. or the next thing you know, the girlfriend tells the boyfriend, why don't you do this, because I see pictures of them always doing that, and it's causing all this confusion where there's even no more face to face, and there's no more realness there. It's just everything is a lot of a facade when it comes to social media. So it has its good things and it has its bad things.
Yeah,
Here
for
on
sure.
Chicano Tube, we're always gonna keep it real. We're gonna bring people like Si Se Puede, my brother Alfonso, right here on the platform, and many more interviews to come. What I need everyone to do is go to the podcast, run his numbers up, because he speaks straight from the corazon, issues that deals with La Raza, issues that deal with Chicanos. And that's just, it's a real conversation. This is some grown up stuff. Real quick, I saw Nino America in the comment section. Nino, he was the first one that shared that video that went viral that I was talking about. So I want to give a shout out to Nino. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Where we're in the backyard and I'm talking to a primo, and then my wife, okay, looking as smoking hot as she looks, she's coming out with a 45 Uncle Trump in the cardboard, dancing. She kisses him, okay, and it was like a lock lip. She locked lips on Uncle Trump, and was dancing around, and it was her fabulous 40th birthday party. That didn't just happen. That actually happened, I think, like 2 years ago. Yeah, it's not a new video, but Nino was the first one, and then it just, I think he
It
has
took
over,
off, huh?
he has 250,000 plus views just
And
on his IG.
not
Go
only
ahead.
the views, but the shares, bro. Like it's just going, man. And I'm telling you, man, Trump is gonna see that, bro. I mean, you guys, like I said, you guys have a really classy, respectable family, man. The way you guys get down was like you guys were all dressed nice, and it looked like a real classy party, man.
Man, I appreciate it. Machete said real quick before we wrap up, it is 10 o'clock. The elected president doesn't run the country. A group of old men run the country. So we're
Pretty
going, and
much.
we'll talk about that as well, because you've seen some of the memes, right? Where it's just all these powerful men over a chessboard, and the chessboard is everything: economics, politics, this, that, everything that we think makes it, religion, everything that we think makes up our sphere of life. And then under the table, you just have like a lot of gente or people that are just oppressed, and they're holding the table up with their backs. That meme reminds me of exactly what Machete said. And I believe it to be true. I definitely believe it to be true. I believe it's higher than a political level. I think that's just one. Yes, I'm not saying to the Raza, don't vote. Oh, no, 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 no. On the contrary, I'm saying to the Raza, we need to vote, and we need to unite our vote
And that's right.
as well. But I'm just saying what Machete said right there. It's higher than that.
That's right.
That's right, man. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna wrap it up. Get the last comments of the night in. Subscribe over to Si Se Puede podcast. I'm gonna drop a link in the description of the video. You might see your boy on Si Se Puede podcast soon.
That'd be
Maybe I'll,
awesome.
I'll jump over there as well. We got more interviews coming up. Anyone that wants to jump on the platform Chicano Tube as well, hit me on IG at Chicano Tube, or just get at me on Gmail, chicanotuberaza.com. I mean, at gmail.com, chicanotuberaza at gmail.com. Last words, my brother.
First of all, I want to thank you, Mikey, for having such a comfortable conversation with you, bro. I think that, man, an hour and something went by, and it felt like 10 minutes. I want to say hello to all your subscribers. I want to tell you guys all that hello, and respectfully have a good night, and God bless, man. And I'm just happy to be here, bro. I'm just happy for you giving me a shot to come on your platform and share my heart, share my story a little bit. I really appreciate it, bud.
That's right, man. I appreciate you guys as well. We're signing off for Sunday night. Make it a blessed week this week. We'll be back on Wednesday night with possibly another guest. But remember what I always say: in the end, all you got is the memories.